Good morning, YouTube, on this beautiful day. Welcome back to the Jeep Comanche. This is going to be episode 2. We're going to try to get this little thing, well, I guess long thing, ready to go to Radwood next weekend. So our ticket is secure. It's ready to go mechanically. I drove it into town yesterday just to make sure everything was still good after only being moved around the property a few times in the last month or so. Of course, it being a Jeep, everything works. So we're going to go ahead and try to clean this thing up and do a few little minor things to kind of make it a little prettier, and we're gonna go ahead and, take it to Radwood next weekend. So let's get into it. Okay, so the truck is air drying and we're getting ready to start hitting it with some product here as soon as it's done drying up. We're going to do a few things with the paint here. First, we're going to start with a clay bar and we're going to polish the paint as much as we can, and then we're going to hit it with some cutting compound, well, rubbing compound actually, but this will help to bring some of the shine back, and then we'll hit it with a little bit of wax. Typically I do this stuff with a power ball, but this time I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to do the whole truck by hand because I think the clear is really thin on the spots that don't have vehicular eczema. But so obviously the spots that do, you couldn't hit this with a power ball. You just make it so much worse. So we're going to go by hand. We're going to go really slow with it, and we're just going to hit it the whole truck. So you guys are going to be on time lapse. Hope you enjoy. So first we start with a clay bar, and the key to the clay bar is to keep it flat in your palm and rub it flat across the paint, and the clay that it's made of will actually pick up loose debris and things, contaminants and such that are in your paint. And if you notice, I'm being very careful around the stickers. I'm really not going over them at all. They're pretty old and I didn't want to get them caught on the edge of the clay bar or any other materials that I'm using, so I was very delicate when I was close to those edges, and I didn't go over them with any of the materials we use in today's video. But you have to do the whole thing. It's very time consuming, but you wipe it down with the clay bar, palm and your flat. You knead it around and kind of mush it around in your hand as you go along each panel. I usually do it. And then you come back with the little microfiber and wipe away the excess quick detailer spray that you use. You use the quick detailer spray as a lubricant so that the clay bar can flow smoothly across the paint. Without it, it's obviously tacky to pick up the debris, so you want it to glide smoothly across the paint, but you still want it to, kind of pick up that debris. So you do it a couple times, and you'll just go along all the paintwork doing that. And I did do the hood or the roof or the tailgate since the paint was very thin, and I knew that clay barring was not going to help it, and it would also run the risk of making it worse, especially on the roof where there's a fair amount of clay material. Next we get to the rubbing compound. The rubbing compound you just kind of put on a microfiber scrub it more or less, and you come back behind it with a microfiber and you wipe off the excess. And the point of this is to kind of remove any dead paint, kind of bring back a little bit of shine. And so we focused on this again, being careful of the graphics on the side of the truck. I go around the entire truck doing this process. Again, we don't do this on the roof of the truck, but the tailgates and the hood got a little bit of attention. The tailgate less so. The paint on the tailgate is somewhat porous, so I kind of started but decided it really wasn't working very well, so I abandoned it pretty quickly. But I did do it to at least the hood off camera to prep it for the wax, which is the final step. Here we see putting on the wax. Now we put on a coat of wax and then you let it dry. So because you have to let it dry, I kind of go a long ways around the truck, and then I come back when it's dry and do an entire side at a time. I do a thin coat. Some people like to do a thick coat, but I find that it gets messy. It gets inside the jams and things, the places you don't want it to be, and if you miss it, it dries white and can be somewhat difficult to remove. So you just let it, get pretty dry, and you come back with your microfiber and you scrub it off. It takes a little bit of elbow grease to do this. It's buffing the paint, it's polishing the paint, but with your hand and the microfiber towel. So it's a little time consuming, but it's worth it to do. And as we go around the truck again, careful of the graphics. And here we definitely did wax the hood of the truck, but not the tailgate or the roof for the same issues we spoke about before. So really the sides of the truck is what's getting all of the attention in today's video. At the show, obviously, not a lot of people are going to be looking at the roof. More people are going to be walking around it, looking at it from the side. So that's really what I wanted to try to clean up. And the side of the truck is really what all the good things is left. And this is about all I can work with to try to shine this thing up. It's not really going to be a showstopper. It's not going to be completely beautiful when it's done. I just wanted it to look a little better than basically farm truck fresh, because we do still use it as a truck.
See, there's Biff out there waxing it right now. Now, Biff, I want to make sure that we get 2 coats of wax this time, not just 1.
Just finishing up the second coat now.
So now that the Comanche looks good from afar, but far from good, we're going to move on to the next step. We're going to go ahead and replace these headlights, because this one here has got itself a little hole in it. So we're going to replace them. Let's do that. Okay, so we got the fronts done. Let's see what we can do about these rears. scratching off the excess that had found its way in between the pieces of plastic and stuff, and polishing it all out. And right about the time I was finishing up, Kelsey came in and told me that we had a prior engagement that night that I had forgotten about, and so we had to stop here for the night. And so I applied a clear coat to let it finish, and that's the final results. That's the old one versus the new one. Okay, so we're gonna try to remove the tint. I have no idea how this is gonna go. But one YouTube tutorial later, I'm ready to try.
Yes, this is a keeper. Oh!
It's really hot. Is there a way to turn this down? No, that's just fan speed. This also took a considerable amount of time. What I'm basically doing is using a heat gun to heat up the tint gradually and peeling it away. Heat allows the adhesive behind the tint to kind of loosen up so it will separate relatively cleanly, and you can peel it away, and then you come back with a razor blade and then you clean up what's left of the residue afterwards with some Windex and a razor blade. This shot was somewhat difficult to show on camera just because it's hard for those working. Well, it's working, so let's go to time lapse and get all of it. This process did take a few days, not for any reason more than it was really cold when I was doing it, and it was just taking a lot longer, and it was coming off in really small pieces because the heat gun was heating it up, but not really enough to where I could pull it off in the chunks, like the size that I really wanted to pull it off. So I just kept at it, and slowly but surely kind of worked it out. I got the center one first, and then I moved on to the left one, and finished up with the one behind the driver's seat the following day. off camera, I gave the truck a once over, checked the oil levels, checked the tire pressure, things like that, make sure it was good to go, cleaned all the rest of the glass. This is what it looks like now. It's been removed, it's nice and clear, looks really good. I was pretty happy with the results. Finished up the taillight install because it had been rolling around in the bed of the truck for a few days. And put those back inside of it on both sides. And that was pretty much it. That completed the prepping of the truck for the trip.